very special LPC by the name of Claudette Guider. Let's give God some praise for her. She's been doing this work for years, but now she has her own practice. Amen. And so I'm going to let her expound upon her wealth of knowledge, and let's listen, and we'll have a period where we can ask questions.
Amen. All right. Hello, and welcome. First, I want to thank God for allowing us to gather here today to talk about a very important issue that is plaguing our community today, and that is mental health challenge. Okay. And I also want to thank Pastor McLaughlin for allowing me to speak today, and also Reverend Cooley for allowing me to speak today. Pastor said, my name is Claudette Guider. I'm a licensed professional therapist. I have been working in the mental health field for over 15 years. I've been working in schools, working with families, working in outpatient settings, and in hospitals. I'm also an author of the book. I published my first book. It's called The Journey to Self-Love. It's the journal to improve mental health. Okay. And I do have, that book can also be found on Amazon, and I have some books here if anyone's interested after. Okay. Today we will explore some mental health issues that disproportionately affect our community, the Black community. Myths, we're also going to talk about myths and stigmas surrounding mental health, reasons individuals may not seek help, and importance of healing mentally and emotionally. And additionally, we will discuss strategies to break the barriers and stigma associated with mental health in African American communities. Some of the mental health issues that disproportionately affect the African American community include depression. Depression is a prevalent mental health issue. Stressors related to discrimination, socioeconomic disparities, and limited access to mental health care can contribute to its high prevalence. Anxiety disorders. Anxiety disorders, including generalized anxiety and social anxiety, are common. Post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. African Americans may experience higher rates of PTSD to exposure to trauma, including community violence and historical trauma related to racism and discrimination. Suicide. While suicide rates among African Americans are lower than the national average, there is a concerning trend of increasing suicide rates among African American youth, particularly males. Substance use disorders. Substance abuse, including alcohol and drug addiction, can be a way to cope with mental health, especially in our African American community. Childhood trauma. Many African American individuals have experienced adverse childhood experiences which can have lasting effects on our mental health. Childhood trauma could include abuse such as physical abuse, sexual abuse, and verbal abuse, neglect, and exposure to violence. Racial trauma. Experiences of racial trauma such as microaggressions, racial profiling, and systemic racism can lead to symptoms similar to PTSD. And last, economic stress. Socioeconomic disparities and financial stressors, including unemployment and housing instability, can contribute to mental health challenges within the African American community. Again, what I had just listed are some of the mental health issues that are disproportionately affecting the African American community. Now I'm going to go to the myths and stigma in our community, in the African American community. And there are some statements that reflect some misconceptions about mental health in the African American community. One of those statements is, if our people could make it through slavery, we can make it through anything. When a Black man suffers from a mental health disorder, the opinion is that he is weak, and weakness in Black men is intolerable. You should take your troubles to Jesus, not some stranger or psychiatrist. And again, here's a big one. In many of our households, don't be telling our business. Keep our business within the house. Right. Again, those are some statements. Also, let me just address some things, some issues why many people do not address mental health or seek the help they need. A big one is fear. Fear of burdening others. We may not want to share what we're going through because that with our family or with friends, because we might think we're going to be a burden and we don't want to be a bother. So therefore, we do what? We keep it to ourselves. Fear and shame. Negative stigma and discrimination with having a mental illness and don't want to be labeled what we call mentally ill or crazy. So therefore, again, we don't want to seek help because seeking help to us people might think that we're crazy or mentally ill, which is not true. Concern how labels, and those labels, they're concerned how those labels may impact their career, their education, and or their goals. Lack of awareness and insight into their condition. Many times people walk around with mental health conditions and they say, there's nothing wrong with me, or I'm not sick. So again, they keep it to themselves and try to deal with it on their own. Feelings of inadequacy and self-sufficiency. Sometimes people don't address mental health because they might feel like they're a failure if they have to admit something is wrong, because oftentimes we're taught that we should be able to handle things on our own. Distrust in sharing personal experiences. Lack of trust in sharing, especially in a Black community. Some people are not open to sharing with people that don't look like them. I'm going to be honest, about 99% of my clients today have shared with me, I've come to you because my previous therapist, I couldn't relate. They didn't look like me. And these are coming from clients that I see today. Hopelessness. Some people just give up, okay? There's nothing that will help me or I'll never get better. So they just give up and feel hopeless. Unavailability. Not know how to find professional services or limited resources in the community. Again, there are many resources here in our community today than there was yesterday. For example, there are so many online services, such as where you can find therapists or psychiatrists for that matter, websites online, Psychology Today, Black girls therapists, Black women therapists, Black therapists for men, Black Men Heal. There are so many resources out here for persons of color. It's another directory. It's called Clinicians of Color Directory, where we can find therapists and or psychiatrists that look like us. Again, I would have had the list with me. I don't have it today, but I will compile that list for you guys. Other barriers, inability to pay for services. That's a big one. And there's also a really good resource out here where I forget the name of the website, where if you aren't able to afford services, but they make it affordable for you, where it's like $35 or $45 a session. So they do make services available for you. And many of us don't know this in our community. Also, transportation. Transportation should not be an issue because most of our therapy services are online. I'm going to be honest with you. I am a telehealth therapist. Most of my services are done online, and most of my clients come from Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. So there's no excuse why we should not be getting therapy or using transportation as a barrier. And lack of health insurance. Again, going back to there is they do make insurance. They do make therapy affordable for as low as $35. Okay, and again, I'll get that website for you guys. Why is it important to take care of our mental and emotional being? Addressing mental and emotional health is vital for several reasons. The first reason is that emotional pain can make you feel despair, hopeless, and uncomfortable. Emotional pain can distort your thoughts, have you thinking negative. It could distort your reality, how you feel about yourself, and cause depression. To cope with the pain felt inside, some people resort to unhealthy habits such as alcohol, gambling, drugs, and other addictive behaviors. The purpose of emotional healing is to break free from your pain, regain your spark and power, and seeking help such as therapy could help you transform your emotional trauma into strength and resilience. Okay. Now I'm going to go into strategies where we as a community could do to address breaking barriers effectively. Okay. First one is promoting awareness. Launching community-wide awareness campaigns to educate individuals about mental health, reduce the stigma, and emphasize the importance of seeking help when needed, and not just keeping it inside and trying to take care of it ourselves. Use various media platforms, we all know about social media, community events, and workshops to spread the message. Cultural competence training. Provide cultural competence training to mental health professionals to ensure they understand the unique experiences and challenges faced by us African Americans. Culturally competent care is essential to building trust. Community dialogues. Creating safe spaces for open and honest conversations about mental health within a community. Encourage individuals to share their own experiences, concerns, and success stories. These dialogues can help normalize discussions about mental health. Faith-based partnerships. Collaborate with local faith-based organizations and leaders to integrate mental health awareness and support into religious communities. Faith leaders can play a vital role in reducing stigma and providing guidance. Peer support networks. Encourage the formation of peer support groups within a community. Peer supports are helpful because these are individuals who are also going through some of the same challenges that their peers may go through. And some people can relate. If they know someone who's going through the same thing, they can also relate with that person. It makes them feel like they're belonging, it provides them a sense of belonging. Youth and school programs. Implement mental health education programs in schools and youth organizations. Teach young people about mental health, coping strategies, and how to seek help. Empower them to discuss their feelings openly. And that can also be done at home. Encouraging our kids to express their feelings openly. There's my next one, family engagement. Engage families in discussions about mental health and encourage open communication. Be okay with not being okay. When someone says you're not, if someone asks you, are you okay? No, I'm not okay. And be okay with being not okay. Families play a significant role in shaping attitudes and behaviors about mental health. Because oftentimes in our family, when we're angry, no, you shouldn't feel this way. So guess what? We are told we are not allowed to what? Feel. So therefore, we shut down and not express ourselves because we're always being told no, rather than it's okay that you're angry or it's okay that you're disappointed. Identify those feelings and be okay with it. Mental health services access. Advocate for improved access to affordable mental health services, particularly in underserved areas. Ensure that community members are aware of available resources and how to access them. Crisis intervention training. Train community members and first responders in crisis intervention techniques. Equipping individuals to provide immediate support during mental health crisis can save lives. And crisis intervention training goes big with our police department. Representation in mental health professions. Encourage other African American individuals to pursue careers in mental health professions. It increases our representation. It can help individuals feel more comfortable when they're seeking assistance or seeking help from professionals who understand their cultural experiences. Cultural celebrations and events. Incorporate mental health awareness into cultural celebrations and community events. Use these opportunities to provide information, resources, and trainings. Advocacy. Yes, that's a big one, advocating. Engage community members in advocacy efforts to improve mental health policies, increase funding for mental health services, and address systemic issues contributing to mental health disparities. Collaborative partnerships. Forming partnerships with local healthcare providers, social services, and nonprofit organizations to create a network of support for mental health initiatives. And last, social media and technology. I know that's a big one in today's society, but leveraging social media and technology to reach the broader audience with mental health resources, support, and educational content. As we know, most youth spend a lot of their time on social media. So this is our time and our opportunity to actually TikTok ads or what, I'm not too, whatever, things like that on social media, because they're always on social media. So what a great opportunity for us to educate our youth about mental health. Okay, in conclusion, breaking the barriers and stigma surrounding mental health in the African American is an ongoing effort that requires collaborative engagement of individuals, community leaders, healthcare professionals, and policymakers. By raising awareness, reducing stigma, and increasing access to culturally competent mental health care, we can create a more inclusive and mentally healthy community where individuals feel empowered to seek help and support each other. Thank you. And we're open for questions.
Come on, let's give Sister Guider a round of applause. Amazing, amazing presentation. Amen.
Thank you.
I have a few questions, but I want to yield to the congregation. Does anyone have any questions about the presentation about mental health? Amen. I've got one.
Hello. My question is, you had mentioned about the $35 fee, or as low as $35. Is that $35 per session?
Per session.
Okay, and also, is there any resources that could help with the, even though it's a low amount, but are there resources that can help with even the $35?
Yeah, I know it's $35 per session. As far as resources that would help, I'm not sure. But there, once I can get you that information, there is an app. There is a website that does offer those low sessions. So maybe they might offer, another resource or something like that that can help. But that's a great question, because again, some people, $35 sounds low, but so I'm not sure. Great question. Mm-hmm.
Amen. Great question. Any other questions? You and our presenter look like you two could be related.
We are. Miss Claudette, I know your field is in mental health. How can we reach out to you or anyone that might be interested in maybe setting up an appointment with you?
Absolutely. Great question, Anya. I do have my business cards, and I can be found. My website is www.bluereign.org, which is BLEUREIGN.org. I can be found on my web. You can reach me on my website. All my contact information is there, and all the insurances that I do accept, because I do accept insurances as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Hi,
Hello.
this is nothing against you,
Uh-huh.
but I know an older person
Mhm.
who finally talked them into attempting to get some counseling. And we went on different websites to get the biography
Yes.
and they were all young ladies. And she stated, I don't want to go to some child. So do you know of any elderly Black women in our area?
In our area, I'm not too familiar.
Within a, say, 10, 15-mile radius?
That's a great question. Absolutely. African American, older. I'm not sure, but what I am able to do is, I'm not sure. I know you said you've tried different websites. Psychology Today. Yeah. Are you familiar? No? Okay, but okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. I personally don't know of any, but I know Psychology Today, like you said, that's a really good website. You can just put the zip code and then they, the 10-mile or 5-mile radius that you're looking for. Yeah, and it's all young faces. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Oh,
My other question, sort of in response
Yeah.
to your question, how young or how old does the person have to be, or what are they looking for, like age range?
yeah.
What do you call?
I don't think they would feel comfortable talking within your age range. I think you're talking someone.
50, 60?
Yes.
50, 60?
They would be comfortable with feeling as though they had life experience or they could relate.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know. I think I may have a name or someone I just needed to know the age range,
Okay.
but not to take
Yeah.
away from my soror now.
No. Oh, no. I'm going to provide resources where you can actually look for other therapists. Yeah, that's fine.
No, but that's a great question. As was mentioned in the presentation, often when a person feels familiar, whether it's age, race, life experience, that helps break down barriers in communication. And so we need as many Black practitioners as we can to reach the various
Yeah.
issues people face. Amen.
Amen.
Any other questions? All right, I probably have 5, but I'll narrow it down to 1. And I'll narrow it down to this one.
Okay.
This is National Recovery Month, and I believe we all know that substance abuse, as you mentioned, is very closely related to mental illness. And sometimes people already have a mental illness and the substance abuse exacerbates it tremendously. And what are things that church can do in regards to substance abuse, as well as those who are in recovery? I'm familiar with the Celebrate Recovery Bible, but I don't know if that's a program that's still available. What are some things the church can do for those who are dealing with mental illness and drug recovery?
Right, absolutely. Now we're going into dual diagnoses where they have substance abuse and mental health. And some things that the church could do is being aware, providing awareness, providing resources, because there are dual diagnosis therapists out here. Being an ear to hear, providing that ear to hear, just keeping your doors open. That's a big thing, and not being judgmental, because they are looking for that safe space, and a lot of people do look at church for that safe space. So I think a big one is just being that ear to hear and just keeping your doors open and not being judgmental. Yeah, and also, like I said, providing those resources.
Amen. If there are no other questions, can we give Sister Claudette a round of applause for this wonderful, wonderful information?
Thank you guys.
Amen. We
All
are
right.
grateful to God. And only one other thing I want to add: statistics show that those who deal with mental illness but believe in God
Yes.
have a much stronger possibility of livelihood, living longer, and more stability, even with their mental illness. So faith matters. Loving God matters. It makes a difference. So encourage, if you know anyone dealing with mental illness, encourage them to have faith. Encourage them to continue to trust in God.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen. Thank you. And again, I do have business cards in my book if anyone's interested. Okay, thank you.
Amen. Well, saints, we've had another great community forum. I'm excited tonight. We started off great last week. Amen. How many were blessed by the singing and the preaching and the worship on last week? Amen. And we're going to keep it going tonight with Bishop Anthony Macklin. He was my pastor when I was a young student in seminary. He is a great preacher, great leader. So I'm looking forward to tonight. So in 19 minutes, we'll be kicking worship off. Amen.